Hey guys, SK here, back with another Clash Royale video, and in today's video we're going to be playing some live ladder using 3.5 Icebow. So the question is classic Icebow still viable? We have the Exposer win condition of course with the Ice Wizard and the Tornado combined with the Tesla for strong defensive core. It's one of the longest standing Expo decks in the game. Very classic, was super good a couple of years ago, but now it's definitely fallen off at least a little bit. We're currently at 7,042 trophies, top 2.2k in the world. Going to be playing some live ladder games for you guys today, and hopefully I can get some nice ones and give you guys some tips for Icebow as we get into the first match against Retire from Cycle Hysteria. I actually think I know this clan. But yeah, I'm definitely not an Icebow player by any means, but I am obviously pretty passionate about Xbow, so hopefully I can give you guys some pretty decent tips here. And I did decide to make the first play with the Knight in the back, just because I don't really want to be leaking too much in general. I think we're just going to go for, well, he goes for a Baby Dragon, so I'm actually just going to rocket it. I was considering going for an Xbow, but I wasn't sure. So that's a -2 trade, but we get a lot of damage on the tower, so don't be afraid to take rocket value if it is given to you. We see a Gold Knight as well, so this looks like it's going to be some kind of bridge spam deck, since we also have Royal Ghost and Baby Dragon in here, but I'm not sure what it is, because it could be P.E.K.K.A, Mega Knight, Ram Rider, or Battle Ram, and we do actually see a P.E.K.K.A in the back. So I'm going to go for an Xbow. Notice how I placed it inwards, so that it's kind of next to the Tesla, so that if my opponent plays anything on the Xbow, I can cut it into the Tesla and have it support. He goes for Bar Barrel E-Wiz, which is perfect for me. Notice how the Tesla basically takes out the Bar Barrel, so that's why that Xbow placement was so important. And now I can just try and defend this. Gonna go for Knight Skeletons, really nice play there. Notice how the Baby Dragon splashing onto the Knight while the P.E.K.K.A is distracted by the Skeleton. So I basically made it so the Knight tanked for the Baby Dragon and the Skeletons tanked for the P.E.K.K.A. I didn't allow each of them to hit the other, so I didn't let the P.E.K.K.A just one-shot the Knight or let the Baby Dragon splash one-shot the Skeleton. So pretty nice little micro play there. And we are going to be rewarded with almost half his tower already. Gold Knight comes down, just going to Tesla. Don't really want to leak and then go for like a super late king activation or anything like that. I'm going to go for an Xbow actually because I think we did outcycle his P.E.K.K.A, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, I am definitely mistaken, but that's fine. I'm just going to let it die. So sometimes cycle card tracking is very important. Actually going to activate King off this Royal Ghost. That's going to be a very important tip with Icebow in general. Activate the King Tower as early as you can if you find an opportunity for a strong defensive setup for the rest of the game. And so that is going to be super useful. Activated King Tower should come in very handy for the rest of this match. Going to go for an Xbow. I'm fairly certain we outcycled the P.E.K.K.A now at least. Yeah, okay, I was right this time. I'm going to go for a Tesla up high, pull the Ram Rider. Really nice play there. Notice how I made the Ram Rider jump over the river so that the Xbow wouldn't target it anymore, and I get another really nice connection. So just these small little plays that you can make allow you to really get a lot of mileage out of your cards, and a lot of little tricks you can use, and this is kind of something that only comes with experience. Obviously I've been playing Xbow for quite a while, so I know all of this stuff, but yeah, just going to kite the Gold Knight to the side, make sure the Tesla takes care of the P.E.K.K.A and Royal Ghost, and Ice Wizard as well will also help clean up the Baby Dragon. So Ice Wizard is going to be our main air defense. He goes for a Ram Rider in the back. Actually going to Xbow because he is going to have to go P.E.K.K.A, which means he'll just have to let the Ram Rider die. I can just go for a Knight. I can Skeletons for the P.E.K.K.A. I was considering logging the Ram Rider, but I think it's fine. Just going to try and defend the Xbow a little as well. And we do still defend the Ram Rider really well. King Tower as well, as you can see, has been helping out big time, so that's where that tip really comes in handy. And that's a big attribute of this Icebow deck, just the ability to activate your King super early on with a Tornado. If you guys know the placements, there are certain cards you can do it against. Royal Ghost is a big one in any bridge spam matchup, but there's also little tricks you can do to activate the King off of something like a Baby Dragon or even an Electro Wizard. This time I will log to reset the Ram Rider's charge, and just like that we are able to keep our Tesla at least somewhat alive to help against this. Going to go for a Knight. Notice how I'm going for my Knights against the Gold Knights really far off to the side, so it doesn't get any dash value on anything. Goes for a Royal Ghost. I'm actually going to Xbow and then just go for a low Tesla, log as well. This should be a really good defense because the King Tower is helping out against both. I can catch this. Gonna Tornado the E-Wiz back to make sure my Xbow takes it out, and he goes for a Fireball, but I'm blocking the E-Wiz, and that's going to be game. I mean, he does get the Gold Knight down time. I actually thought I was going to get an Xbow connection there, but it's still totally fine. I can just go for a Tesla, and I mean, he only has so much he can do. He can't really break through, especially with an activated King. so I'm totally fine. I'm actually just going to rocket on defense here. It might be kind of unnecessary because I could also just go for 2 rockets, but I'd say I'm a relatively safe player. This Gold Knight will actually cause a bit of trouble by dashing onto the tower, but Activated King is once again being so helpful here, and I can now just rocket. I think that's Rocket Tornado Log if I'm not mistaken, but it doesn't actually matter. Another big thing with this deck you guys shouldn't be afraid of is waiting until tiebreaker. I think he actually has 1 HP left, which is pretty funny. Surgical Goblin versus Morton moment, but that is going to be game. Another big thing, this deck is quite a defensive deck, so don't feel afraid to go to tiebreaker and win that way if you need to. Alright guys, so we found another match against Auric Battlelov, who is a CRL 2022 20 game winner, or at least got 17 wins because he does have the badge, so should be a pretty decent player here. Just going to go for a log. In terms of starting plays with this deck, okay, in terms of starting plays in general, Golem first play is not what I really like to see. In general, it's kind of frustrating, but I think we'll be fine because I only committed a log. I'm not down too much, but yeah, I went for log. I think the safest plays to start out are log, skeletons, and maybe ice wizard. But gonna go for a Tesla off to the side here because I want to pull the golem as far as I can. I might go for a rocket. Okay, gonna have to go for skeletons for the prince, and I think I will rocket the night witch because there's no way the ice wiz is gonna take care of that by itself. Really nice skeleton stalling the prince out, which does allow the Tesla to take it out. Gonna have to go for a log as well, take care of the bomber. I didn't need to hit the Golemites because they were still on the Tesla, so honestly a pretty flawless defense, even though we did get Golem first played. As you can see, if you do defend well and they don't have something like a lightning right off the bat, you can defend pretty well with this deck. So bats come down, so Prince, this might have skeleton dragons in this deck. Actually haven't seen this in quite a long time. I'm actually going to leak and see if my opponent wants to make any plays in the back, like a 4 elixir play in the back, because in single elixir generally that's a good time to go in against Golem. If they play like a baby dragon, okay, he goes for arrows. I'm actually just going to Xbow because that's just kind of a wasted 3 elixir, and he does unfortunately have a Golem back in cycle. But that's fine again. Notice I went for the inwards Xbow placement. That way I can go for this center Tesla and just kite the Golem into the middle. Also targeting the Golem while it's on the Xbow, so that's going to be pretty nice for me. Night Witch comes down. I'm going to go for a Knight, and then hopefully the Ice Wiz retargets, and it does. So that's really good. Really nice little separation there. Usually you do want to take care of the Night Witch, but with the Ice Wiz it's a lot easier than if I had 3.0 Expo Cycle. Another thing, this is definitely a deck that has a much different playstyle to 3.0. You don't want to play as aggressively as 3.0. Although on that note I am going to go in because we did outcycle his Golem. He goes for arrows now and Prince, so we are actually going to get an Expo connection. I'm going to go for a log, and then Ice Wiz. I tried to retarget the Prince. Unfortunately that part didn't really work out very well, but we actually still get a damage lead. Let's see how much elixir we're down. I'm going to hover my Xbow. He goes for Golem opposite lane, so I can actually go for an Xbow here. Knight as well to predict the bomber, because I know he has it in the deck, but it looks like he just goes for bats, so that's actually pretty bad for me. That's a 9 for 5 trade now. He played the bomber. Gonna definitely let that go, and yet we do actually get a really nice connection, but this is gonna be tricky to stop. Gonna wait for the bomber to lock on. Notice how I wanted to go skeletons, but I waited for the bomber to lock on, because if I didn't, it definitely would have splashed skeletons, and that was amazing rocket value. Now I'm gonna activate King off of this Golemite, so that was actually pretty much a flawless defensive sequence. Got a really nice connection, and also got a really nice defense, and even activated King, so that's pretty much all I could have asked for. Gonna go for an Xbow again, and gonna try and log this Golem out of Xbow range, as well as Knight to predict the bomber. And do you actually get the retarget off, although unfortunately the Golem walks back in range. But we are still having a healthy Xbow on the field. Gonna go for skeletons, and then I might log to reset the Prince's charge, and then Knight just to protect my Ice Wizard. And I mean, we are slowly getting DPS down. I think my opponent has lightning in this deck as well. We are still in the lead though, so he's gonna have to respond to this Knight Ice Wiz. Gonna go for an Xbow. I'm actually gonna go for another little trick here. Gonna pull this Golem out of range with a tornado, so that's gonna be my next tip. In this video I guess I'll just be giving you guys some general Icebow tips. Next tip is going to be use the tornado to pull the opponent's big tank for your Xbow out of Xbow's range to get an Xbow connection. As you can see, I got like I think 500 or 600 damage at least from that, and that is going to be huge. Prince is going to be kind of threatening, but since he's spamming all these troops, I know for a fact he won't have enough for a lightning, and that's the most important part. Just going to go for a log. Tornado log does kill bomber, and Ice Wiz slow is putting in so much work, along with the King Tower again. These past 2 games, the King Tower has just been so helpful, so that's a huge little component that you definitely want to take advantage of if you know your tornado activation. I'm just going to pull this back to stall it out, even log it back to cycle back to my next rocket, and that's going to be game. So 2 rockets to clean the match up. Pretty flawless game against Golem Lightning. I mean, not an easy matchup by any means, but I feel like I played it pretty well. So hopefully it gives you guys a pretty good game plan. Alright, so we found the next match against Busfarer Dirk. Not entirely sure what that means, but gonna give him the good luck as he gives it back. So let's see what he's playing. He's a little bit higher than us in trophies. Just gonna split Skeletons first play, and I think Icewiz is safe. I don't think Tornado or Rocket definitely not, or an Xbow definitely not as your first plays. Actually gonna Rocket this Princess because I think it's gonna be Logbait, and so we can't really punish me for this because it is pretty much a 3 elixir rocket. I mean, I did also waste 3 elixir with my Ice Wizard, which he is just ignoring, going for a log. So that also had to be considered, but it was basically a 3 elixir rocket since Princess cost 3 as well, and we get a really nice little damage lead. And if he does try and rocket me back, I have an Xbow in store for him. So I'm actually going to Xbow opposite lane just to find out what he has. I think it's going to be the Mighty Miner, yeah, Cannon, Logbait deck. This is going to be a really hard matchup, I think. This is really hard for 3.0, so I don't see how it's going to be any better for Icebow. A lot of people think that these matchups might be okay for Icebow, but compared to 3.0, also going to Tornado that Princess. Just a little play you can make if they Princess the bridge, you can pull it in. You can also go for Skeletons to take it out for only 1 elixir, but if you had like Fire Spirit or Log, it would have been kind of scary. He actually goes for a Princess Mirror at the bridge, and does unfortunately get 2 hits, which is quite a lot of damage because it's level 16, so that is kind of annoying. But he's going to have to respond to this. He has Ice Spirit, not Fire. And yeah, Log as well, so that's pretty good. Honestly, Knight unfortunately doesn't get a hit, but I could Xbow here. I think I will, actually, and Skeleton as well, just to predict the cannon. Goes for a Mighty Miner. I'm honestly tempted to Tornado that back, but I'm just going to go for a Tesla instead. Tesla does target the cannon first, thankfully not the Mighty Miner, because cannon definitely would have been more annoying, and I'm actually going to Tornado this Mighty Miner back, just because if he pops ability or anything like that, yeah, he has to go for the mirrored cannon, and that's going to be a huge, not huge, but really nice little connection for us again, like 600 damage. And yeah, I'm definitely glad the Tesla targeted the cannon first, because Mighty Miner Cannon can pretty much shut down your Xbow if they want to. So I'm going to go for Icewiz. I don't want to rocket that, even though I rocketed the first Princess. Going to go for an Xbow, and does unfortunately get rocket. Actually, he missed my Ice Wizard. Interesting. Not that it really matters, though, because Icewiz doesn't really do anything. But I'm just going to rocket him back because I have a defensive Xbow alive. And he goes for a Mighty Miner in the back. I guess it would have been better if I would have hit that, but obviously you played it after. I'm just going to go for a high Tesla, I guess. This Xbow, yeah, I was going to say he can't really Princess the bridge because Xbow's still there, so not sure what he was thinking with that one. But goes for a rocket again. Wow, so I'm going to go for an Xbow now. And Mighty Miner Bomb is going to be kind of annoying, but it's still totally fine. He goes for the mirrored rocket, so against rocket matchups in general, if they do rocket your Xbow, or you can bait it out rather, make them rocket your Xbow, then you can rocket them back. This is a good play against Logbait, because they can't rocket both your tower and your Xbow. They have to choose one, obviously. And they have ways to defend your Xbow without rocket, of course, but if you can bait out the rocket, it'll be really good. He actually rockets my tower again. He's gonna mirror rocket my Xbow, I guess. That would probably make the most sense. Yeah, he does. So again, I'm going to do the same thing, just rocket his tower. And he actually has mirror in here, which makes it an even more difficult matchup, I feel like. And really nice prediction by me. I wanted to go for a Tesla, but notice how I kind of shoved it up to the top because I had a feeling he might Princess the bridge. Now his tower's in range of 2 rockets, but I can't get too complacent because he can mirror rocket me out. So I'm going to Xbow, and he actually does go for a cannon, but it was a really good prediction, but I still can't let it slide. I still have to commit with the Ice Wiz. Going to Tornado the Mighty Miner out of Xbow range, hopefully. Nice, same play I used against Golem. And just like that, that's going to be in range of a rocket. So really nice win. I feel like this is a pretty hard counter, especially with the mirror in here. But I think I played it pretty well, so really nice little win there against Mighty Miner Logbait with the mirror and the rocket. Alright guys, so getting into the next match here, and I'm not really sure how to pronounce my opponent's name, but gonna give him the good luck, and let's just cycle a log. First play, I think, just wait to see if he does anything first. Icebow is definitely, okay, Miner, just gonna go for Skeletons and Ice Wiz. I don't want to take any damage. I'd say Icebow is definitely still a single elixir deck for the most part, because we do have Xbow. Gonna actually go for an Xbow on that note, because I have an Ice Wizard surviving. Giant comes down, gonna go for a Knight, actually keeping my Ice Wizard alive, so it's causing him a bit of annoyance. Yeah, forced to arrow use arrows on the Ice Whiz, and I actually do get a small little Xbow connection. I get 1 tick. Okay, I thought it'd be more than that, but as you can see, it was still kind of annoying for him. Forced out the arrows, which I doubt he wanted to go for. Looks like it's going to be Giant Minor Double Prince with arrows, so I think if they have arrows, they usually don't have Fireball. They usually have either Fireball Zap or Arrow Zap, and I definitely welcome arrows over Fireball because it means he can't really kill my Ice Wizard. And also notice I'm catching his minors every time because he knows I have Icebow, Tornado, so he has to go for it in the safe spot. Otherwise, I would just Tornado the Minor to King, so that's pretty easy to catch. Just gonna Knight. Unfortunately, he's already back to a Giant, so I thought he was down Elixir. I guess not, though. But that Xbow is going to go down, unfortunately, and I think I actually might have to take this Mega Minion. I mean, I could also Tornado it back, but I don't know. Yeah, Prince. Okay, thank God I didn't Tornado the Mega Minion. So that was actually a pretty nice play on my end, even though I took a bunch of damage in the left. It doesn't look like a nice play, but I obviously had to commit to this Prince at the bridge, which is actually a pretty well played move by my opponent, because if I did go like Tornado Skeletons or something for the Mega Minion, I would have just gotten screwed by the Prince, just would have charged. So sometimes you do have to take tower damage as a resource, which is what I did there. Gonna Xbow now, and he goes for a Dark Prince, so I actually think he might not have enough for the Giant, because, okay, or, well, I'm not sure. I thought I outcycled it maybe, but he is back to it now anyway, so not like it really matters, but just gonna log back. We are down over 1,000 damage, but the good news again is that I think he has Arrow Zap, not Fireball Zap, so he can't exactly kill my Ice Wizards, and I'm definitely still able to outcycle him. I outcycled his Giant right here, so Xbow should put in quite a lot of work. Unfortunately, it does target the Prince, so just going to go for a Tesla and log the Prince to make sure it doesn't charge, because I cannot afford any more Prince charges. Or I didn't even take one, but I just can't afford any Prince charges in general. And Tesla, really nice placement there, helping out against the Giant, but low enough that it doesn't just get taken out instantly. Nice placement you want to keep in mind there. Going to Tornado all of this in, so even if they go for Minor in the safe spot, you can Tornado it upwards, especially if he pairs it with something like this Ewiz in this counter push. I'm going to go for an Xbow now. He goes for a Prince, and he actually looks like he doesn't have enough for the Giant, or he wasn't back to it. Going to go for an Ice Whiz to the side, Skeletons as well, pull the Prince, and we get a really nice connection there, so pretty much just constant aggression on my end. I was eventually able to outcycle the Giant. Also caught my opponent. Pretty lucky timing, went for a Prince at the back. Notice how I waited all the way there for my Tesla as well, just because I didn't want to get the Ewiz to splash it as well. But we do catch the Minor again. Gonna Xbow. Even though I do have a nice damage lead, I still want to keep up the pressure, at least for a little bit longer, because I can't just let my opponent build huge pushes. So he's going for these Princes in the back. I know he wants to go Giant, Minor, whatever in front. I can't afford to allow that to happen. So just gonna log back, and I might Knight Xbow. Okay, I'm actually just gonna Rocket. Yeah, because we got a pretty nice defense there. So this is gonna be my final tip. I guess I'm just doing 1 tip per match. Also gonna activate King, but in matchups where you can't really get Xbow connections that easily, for example, you know, Giant Double Prince, Golem, I guess Golem might not be the best example, but basically matchups where they have lots of counters, Rocket Cycle does become a secondary win condition in the deck, and a viable one at that, so definitely keep that in mind as well. You don't always have to get Xbow connections. Rocket Cycle is a viable option, as long as you know how to defend and you are comfortable, because you are just straight up going down 6 Elixir most of the time. So I'm actually not going to Rocket this time. I'm just going to set up with defense first, because I feel safer doing that, and he can't really break through if I defend really well. Like if he goes for Minors down low, I can catch them, and if he goes for Minors up high, I can Tornado them in. Also, really nice Rocket value there. I wasn't afraid to do that just because he's stacking a lot of troops, so might as well just take the Rocket value, right? I'm just going to go for a log to reset these Prince charges. Gonna go for yet another Rocket, because I think we can actually get back to another one. There's 20 seconds left. Yeah, and he is not really breaking through at all. So pretty flawless defense on my end, I'd say. Now I can just afford to cycle back to my Rocket. Tornado log Rocket is gonna seal the deal. That is going to be good game. My opponent gives a thumbs up. 888, pretty nice number there, as I do get the Tornado off a bit too late. And he's laughing. I guess I'm just going to BM him a little bit back, because that's actually a pretty hard counter. So for today's matches, I actually feel like we had some pretty difficult matchups, but I think I played pretty well, so hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully I was able to show you some Icebow gameplay that you enjoyed. Some people have requested for Icebow, and hopefully the tips helped you out as well. So thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I will see you in the next video.